Before I start with my topic, I don't think we have a thinking problem. I think we have a digestion problem. We consume ideas the way we consume fast food, quickly, constantly, and without much reflection. And the more I've been thinking about it, the more it feels less like a people problem and more of an environment problem. Because it's not that people are unintelligent. That's not what I'm claiming here. It's that the ecosystem rewards speed over depth. It rewards reaction over reflection, certainty over curiosity. So maybe the better question isn't why don't people think anymore? It's not an honest question. Maybe it's a catchy one. Maybe it's more like what kind of environment are we participating in? Because if you look at the environment, it's pretty obvious what it rewards. Algorithms reward engagement. Engagement is driven by emotion. Emotion spread faster than nuance. Short form content compresses complexity into slogans, and then influencers monetize certainty and news cycles reward urgency. And then there's AI tools that let us articulate positions before we fully even formed any type of understanding. That way we're able to still participate in the conversation that's currently happening. Again, all part of that speed. And here, like none of this is evil on its own, but together it creates something powerful, something a little concerning, you know, an ecosystem where intensity travels faster than reflection. And I think that's a little scary. When intensity spreads faster than reflection, thinking compresses. Think about it like this. Imagine living in a city where the water supply is slowly contaminated. Not not dramatically, just gradually. No one notices at first. Everyone's going about their lives. Everyone adjusting to the symptoms. Headaches become normal. Irritability becomes personality. And then hallucination becomes consensus. Technically, the situation that people aren't crazy. They're reacting to their environment. The ecosystem is compromised. You need a little bit of reflection to realize that. And reflection requires some level of discomfort. It requires, slowing down at times. It requires admitting you might be wrong. Because if not, you'll, instead of reflection, you do deflection. Deflection protects identity, protects tribe, protects certainty. And we deflect out of fear. And when fear rises, rhetoric sharpens. Maybe let's go back and look at history. During the height of McCarthyism, accusations alone were often enough to destroy reputations. Labels replaced evidence. Suspicion replaced dialogue. Caution was interpreted as weakness. Nuance was interpreted as complicity. Restraint was interpreted as disloyalty. Do you follow me here? When language becomes absolute, disagreement becomes betrayal. intensity becomes the measure of credibility. That's when an ecosystem is overheating and becoming unsustainable. This is why we have to reflect a little bit. Here's the cost if we don't. We stop refining our beliefs. We stop testing them. We stop updating them. Our beliefs become our identity, and that identity becomes armor. And armor doesn't like adjustment. While our system that we participate in is flawed, it isn't beyond repair. Education through conversations like this create awareness. Awareness breeds responsibility, and responsibility is leverage. And, responsibility isn't abstract. It's discipline. Thinking is a discipline. And like any discipline, it atrophies when it isn't exercised. Slowing down is a discipline. Listening fully is a discipline. Reading beyond headlines is also a discipline. Sitting with ideas that challenge you or separating a person from their beliefs is also a discipline. None of these are glamorous, okay? And neither is working out. But those things require repetition because you don't build strength by reacting. You build it by resisting impulse. And maybe the movement isn't ideological, at least not here. Something more of cognitive movement, a movement toward slower thinking, toward clearer language, toward disagreement without dehumanization, toward passion grounded in reflection. Maybe that kind of movement doesn't go viral. Maybe it doesn't trend, but it builds something durable. And durability is what systems actually need. I'm not saying this to talk at you. I'm saying it because I'm in this too. I catch myself reacting. I catch myself gravitating toward certainty. I catch myself wanting the quick take. That's why I'm thinking about this out loud, really. It's definitely not because I've mastered it, but more because I'm trying to practice it. This isn't a lecture. It's more of a reminder for me as much as anyone else. If we're going to be in the trenches of this culture, then we might as well be intentional about how we think inside of it. And if I'm wrong about any of this, let me know. That's part of the discipline too.